To our special guest here. When I was looking up her biography, oftentimes you find a very dry sort of factual history, but what struck me about the senator's bio on the website was it's a very personal story. It's a personal story that talks about confidence and faith and family, hard work, dedication, and service to others. So, as I said, she can talk more about that particular story if she'd like, but I was really moved by that and would note a few items. That the senator attended Georgetown University Law Center because it had a strong clinical program and wanted to focus on public interest law. After graduation, she worked in the antitrust division of Hawaii Attorney General's office. Prior to law school, she had helped many people run for election, but through the encouragement of others, ran successfully for a seat in the Hawaii House of Representatives in 1980. As chair of the House Consumer Protection and Commerce Committee, she focused on greater protections for Hawaii's workers and consumers. So it was after serving more than a decade in the House, she was elected to Lieutenant Governor in 1994, where she led an effort to revamp Hawaii's workers' compensation insurer laws, saving businesses millions. She also led state efforts to improve early childhood education and promote Hawaii's tourism industry through visa reform, issues which she continues to champion today. She was elected in 2006 to Congress by voters with 64% of the vote. And she is currently leading Hawaii's efforts to transition to 70% of their resources to come from renewable energy. So it is very exciting and privileged for me to indicate that she was reelected in 2010 with 75% of the vote. I'd like to think that there's a correlation between renewable portfolio standards and your re-election records. So please join me in welcoming, give a great welcome here to distinguished Senator. Senator, thank you.
Thank you very much. Aloha. Well, when I ran for the Senate in 2012, I said that the Senate could use a lot more diversity and that I bring quadruple diversity to the Senate because I'm a woman and we certainly could use more women in the Senate, although we have a record 20 women now serving in the Senate. I said I'm Asian. I am the first Asian American woman to ever be elected to the U.S. Senate. I am an immigrant. I was not born in this country. And fourth, I'm a Buddhist. And someone in the crowd said, yeah, but are you gay? And I said, nobody's perfect. So, glad to be here with all of you enlightened people. Thank you for that introduction. This is my first time addressing the ACOR National Renewable Energy Summit. And I know that ACOR has been a great resource for me and my staff as we work on some of these issues of mutual concern and interest. So I'm certainly glad to have an opportunity to be here with all of you today. I know that you've already heard from Senator Whitehouse, who is one of the gurus of the energy, self-sufficiency and renewable energy, all of those kinds of issues. He's been wonderful, and we've since been joined by Senator Markey, who is also very much a proponent of the issues that we care about. But I would like to start off by taking a little bit of time to talk about why I believe in a renewable energy future. As you all know, I'm proud to be the senator from the state of Hawaii. Hawaii is unique in a lot of ways, and I know some of you have been to Hawaii because at least one person here said aloha. That's always a good, indicator that you've been to Hawaii. It's the nation's only island state, and we're located 2,500 miles from the U.S. mainland. And we have oceans, mountains, and just about every geographic feature in between. Our communities are peaceful and welcoming. It's a beautiful place to grow up in, to raise a family, and to visit. So I say to all of you, come one, come all. However, island life presents different stresses than those on the mainland. Let me tell you about a wife, mother, and small businesswoman in Kalihi. Kalihi is a working-class neighborhood in Honolulu, which is the largest city in the state of Hawaii. And this mother runs a small daycare facility for toddlers, and she gets up at 4:30 a.m. every day. She cooks, she prepares for the day, and the last child in her care leaves at 5:30 p.m., and of course, there are lots of things to do in between. And during the economic downturn, her husband's job was downsized. And for 2 years, they lived in fear of losing their home. She and her husband live on a very tight budget. So they do things to save money, such as they dry their laundry outdoors. They unplug every appliance they can each night. They have one window air conditioner that she only keeps running during the day when her daycare center is in operation. Yet try as she might, her electric bill is still around $400 a month. Around here, for much of the country, that is a shocking number, but in Hawaii, that is not unusual because the majority of our energy comes from fossil fuels, which we import. We are the most oil-dependent state in the country. In 2011, Hawaii spent over $7.6 billion on energy. That is equal to nearly 11% of our state's economy, or about $5,500 per person. Imagine what $5,500 more could mean to a working-class family. Helping those working-class families is one reason I am so committed to a renewable energy future. A renewable energy future means much more than just saving money. As a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee, I know that it also means saving lives. Our national security challenges are global and complex. Supporting U.S. operations requires a lot of energy, fuel to run our planes, ships, vehicles. This energy has to be transported over long and often hostile expanses. Just yesterday, Navy Secretary Mabus testified before the Senate Armed Services Committee. He has made energy security a key pillar of his time as Secretary, consistent with the DoD-wide commitment to reducing energy costs through efficiency and renewable generation. In his testimony, he stated that during the height of the Afghan war, our nation lost 1 Marine killed or wounded for every 50 fuel convoys. And according to U.S. Transportation Command, fuel convoys were attacked 1,100 times in 2010 alone. That year, the Defense Department consumed 5 billion gallons of petroleum to support operations. The cost, over $17 billion. This represents a 381% increase in costs in just over 5 years to the DoD. However, during the same time period, their petroleum use actually decreased by 4%. Secretary Mabus told the committee about what he calls the security premium we pay for fossil fuels. Each time oil prices spike by just $1, the energy bill for the Navy and Marine Corps rises by $30 million. In the aftermath of the chemical attacks in Syria, oil prices spiked to over $107 per barrel and has stayed there. He said that the same scenario plays out whenever instability strikes, like during the crisis in Egypt, Libya, and the list goes on. With fuel prices set on international markets, budgeting can be a challenge, both for the military and for a state like Hawaii. This has real-life implications. Higher costs for families struggling to make ends meet, and too many military families paying the highest cost, the loss of a loved one, to keep us safe. Saving lives and improving lives, that's why I'm fully committed to a renewable energy future. The state of Hawaii and the U.S. military both face serious, unsustainable energy challenges, and both are showing strong leadership in overcoming those challenges. In Hawaii, we have a goal of generating 40% of our electricity from renewable sources by 2030. And in just 6 years, we've already reached 18% from renewables, well ahead of schedule. Some of our islands are even pushing ahead further. For example, today, nearly 50% of the energy sold on the Big Island is renewable. In addition, the Kauai Island Utility Cooperative has committed to pursuing 50% renewable generation by 2023. This explosive growth in renewables is across the board: solar, wind, biofuels, geothermal, hydropower. You name it, there's probably a project happening in Hawaii. That's the value of a renewable portfolio standard. It sets a goal that allows the private sector to lead in how we get there. In addition, Hawaii is a perfect test bed for a variety of generation and other technologies. As a state made up of islands, we have 4 separate, totally separate power grids. These isolated grids are platforms where various kinds of research and pilot projects can occur. We've attracted universities, private sector companies, and even nations such as Korea and Japan to invest in research and development in smart grid technology. Our state government has been focused on energy efficiency, and Hawaii leads the nation in energy savings performance contracts. The efforts underway in Hawaii are not only going to change how we produce and use energy, they are also fostering new partnerships and investments that are the foundation of a true renewable energy economy in Hawaii. The long-term benefits of this are clear: chances to attract new capital, develop new industries, create new good-paying jobs. In addition, being situated in the Asia Pacific, which is a fossil fuel poor nation, means that we are well positioned to export our know-how to hungry, growing markets. This is where the opportunities lie. I see some of you shaking your heads. See, this is a really intelligent, informed crowd. I like that. Pat yourselves on the back. So locally produced renewable energy will also help to improve our national security, as I mentioned, and both the state of Hawaii and DOD have real data-supported reasons for supporting renewable energy. But what else do they have in common? Each has long-term policies in place to help support their goals and is working to develop new partnerships to meet them. Government policy should support and incentivize these partnerships. So let me now turn to what Congress could do. As most of you know, the likelihood of a comprehensive federal renewable energy policy being enacted is relatively low, although I understand that Senator Whitehouse was very optimistic. Well, you know what? Anything can happen. But the reality is that we face our challenges in moving this agenda forward. But we must persevere because there is so much at stake for the future of our country and our planet. And I think there are 3 primary areas where Congress can find common ground to move the ball forward. First, we need to double down on research and development. Partnerships between the federal government, private sector, and academia have a proven track record of developing game-changing technologies. I recently visited the Pacific International Center for High Technologies Energy Accelerator in Hawaii. This is an innovative new partnership that provides startup funds for renewable energy businesses in Hawaii and the Asia-Pacific area. And last year, the U.S. Navy invested $30 million in Hawaii for this program, which in turn helped to attract 38 million additional funding commitments from the private sector. Members of Congress from across the aisle recognize the value of research and development investments by our country. Second, we need to upgrade our electrical grid so that it is not a bottleneck to expanding the use of renewable energy. Our power grid still uses technologies that date back to Thomas Edison's time. Modernizing our grid is an essential element of our energy strategy and quite literally the backbone of a clean energy economy. Since Hawaii is one of the states with the highest usage of renewable energy, we are at the forefront of the challenges this transition presents. Grid upgrades are expensive, but they are essential to addressing our nation's energy future. The federal government can help by providing loans, loan guarantees, and other innovative financing to attract private capital and spur big investments into modernizing our electrical grid. I'm working on what I hope will be bipartisan legislation that will create a financing mechanism to do just that. Finally, we need to extend and build incentives that will help to lower the cost of energy efficiency and renewable energy upgrades for businesses and families. The state of Hawaii is doing good work on innovative financing programs that will help achieve this goal. I'm also working on a bill that will help give states more resources to assist consumers to afford this renewable energy transition. So even these modest steps might sound like too much for today's Congress to achieve. They probably won't have the impact that a national renewable energy and energy efficiency standard would have. But if you had told me in 2000 that a Texas oil man would be one of the most consequential renewable energy presidents in history, I wouldn't have believed you either. That's right. President George W. Bush signed into law both the Energy Policy Act of 2005 and the Energy Independence and Security Act of 2007. Those bills gave us the renewable fuel standard, which has helped boost biofuel production. They also gave us the auto efficiency standards that are reducing emissions and gas consumptions. Of course, these aren't perfect policies, but they are evidence that bipartisan, long-term renewable energy policies are possible. And most importantly, they are evidence that a long-term, coherent renewable energy policy works. And I'm hopeful that the ideas I've laid out today can be achieved in a bipartisan way. A renewable energy economy shouldn't be a partisan matter. Of course, my door is always open to continue to work with you. ACOR has been tremendous in working with me on the bills that I mentioned, and I look forward to our continuing working together. As we say in Hawaii, mahalo, aloha. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, I can't stay for questions. I can't stay for questions, but thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Senator.